When we see the reports coming out of the Middle East, it's easy to give up hope. Most of us either pick a side or just ignore the chaos altogether. But have you ever noticed how it takes work to ignore the Middle East? It has this strange habit of finding its way to the front of the stage, and maybe for good reason. What if it's meant to grab our attention? If you're a person of faith, then it's likely your story actually begins in the Middle East, where a guy from southern Iraq named Abram heard the voice of God call him to begin a journey. In obedience, he set out and walked an ancient highway in search of a land God had promised. In the midst of his journey, God changed his name to Abraham and promised to multiply his descendants and make him the father of many nations. Abraham had 2 sons, each with a prophetic destiny. To Ishmael, the son of Hagar, God promised a blessing and 12 sons who would reign in the region but experience conflict with their brothers. To Isaac, the son of Sarah, and his descendants, God gave the land of Canaan and a promise that the whole world would experience blessing through his family line. So here lie the roots of today's conflict, a family story that has dissolved into deep dysfunction. Fast forward thousands of years and you can see the modern-day Jewish people, the descendants of Isaac, living in the land God had promised. And the modern-day Arab peoples, some who are the descendants of Ishmael, living along the same highway that their father Abraham had traveled. And the hostilities remain. But this is not the end of the story. The Hebrew prophet Isaiah looked through the chaos of his time, even through the chaos of our time, and saw something on the other side. He saw the same highway Abraham walked, not as a source of conflict, but a source of blessing for the whole earth. He wrote, "In that day there will be a highway from Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrians will come into Egypt, and the Egyptians into Assyria, and the Egyptians will worship with the Assyrians. In that day Israel will be the third party with Egypt and Assyria, a blessing in the midst of the earth, whom the Lord of hosts has blessed, saying, Blessed is Egypt my people, and Assyria the work of my hands, and Israel my inheritance." The Hebrew word that Isaiah used for highway is mesilah, which actually means an elevated road. So, maybe there is an elevated way to obtain peace and experience real reconciliation in the Middle East. Maybe the highway that Isaiah saw actually starts in the heart. You see, God loves Isaac and God loves Ishmael. In fact, God loves all the people and all the nations of the Middle East, and He is absolutely determined to make us a united family again. This is the hope for the Middle East. The same story that foresees the conflict also promises its resolution. That's why today there are Egyptians, Israelis, Arabs, and Turks, people from the Middle East and around the world who are joining together to raise up this elevated way. They are serving, praying, loving, and living in such a way to see this highway of hope, worship, and reconciliation become a reality in our lifetime. Because the truth is, God said there will be a highway, and right now, you and I are invited to help Him build it.